Good afternoon. This is a short video in which I compared the new Zidoo Z9x PRO with NVIDIA Shield TV 2019 Pro, as well as the third generation Amazon Fire TV Cube. A little bit about Zidoo. Zidoo Z9x PRO got a new Realtek RTD 1619 BPD processor and new Android 11. The previous version of Dune Real Vision and Zidoo Z9x were not characterized by quality upscaling. It was too aggressive, spoiling the image. In the new Zidoo Pro, the upscaling algorithm has changed. Let's see which device is now the best in terms of upscaling quality to 4K. A small clarification. Originally, when I tested the third generation Fire TV Cube, it gave 1 upscale. But unfortunately, with the last 2 updates that happened in the last months, its upscale has gotten worse. I'll show you what the difference is. Let's go straight to the 200% image upscaling. This is Shield TV algorithm enhanced. 100% identical upscaling used in Apple TV and Fire TV Stick 4K. This is how Zidoo and Dune showed on the previous version of Realtek processor. There was a strong oversharp and plasticine effect, unnatural looking. And this is how Fire TV Cube showed before the update. If you compare it with Shield TV, you can see that Fire TV Cube had a slightly sharper image. This is the Shield TV, and this is how the Fire TV Cube was showing. And this is how it began to upscale after the update. This is how it was, and this is how it became after the update. It seems that the super resolution function is no longer enabled. The most interesting thing is, for example, Yugu's X2 Cube. This is a usual standard upscale from Amlogic. It has always been a bit inferior to the leaders. Accordingly, now if we compare Yugu's X2 and Fire TV Cube, we got almost the same. The only thing they fixed, if you look closely, X2 has a defect on the wire, and Fire TV Cube has no defect on the wire. The wires are straight and nice as they should be. And look at this, if super resolution on Fire TV Cube is turned off, the picture is even worse. As much as I tried different settings to put on Fire TV Cube to return the upscale, as it was before the update, I could not do it. Now let's look at the Zidoo Z9x PRO. If we compare it to the Shield TV, we can see that the image is clearer, and this image is even better than the Fire TV Cube image before the firmware update. We can see that Zidoo upscales more clearly. Look at the foliage, it looks quite natural. If we put 100% zoom, the image will look great. If we compare Zidoo Pro and Dune, you can see how oversharpened the Dune image is. We can say that Zidoo has improved the upscaling, changed the algorithm. And for example, this is how AI low upscale algorithm works on Shield TV, that is smart upscale on this image gives even better quality. But I have already told you several times, on Real Movies smart upscale too much highlights the defects of the image. I think you were able to realize that Zidoo and Realtek have really stepped up and managed to beat even Shield TV and others. I think on regular movies the Zidoo Pro upscale will look great. And as for Fire TV Cube, it is certainly a strange situation. If initially it really showed itself better than Shield TV, then after the latest updates its image quality became worse. And now I'll show you what else has changed in Zidoo Pro. It has changed its color interpolation algorithm. This is Shield TV. This is Dune Real Vision. Dune and Zidoo output in 444 10-bit format. Look, this is Dune Real Vision, and this is how the new Zidoo Pro outputs now. You see, if you compare, they changed the horizontal interpolation algorithm. Now this interpolation is the same as the Shield TV horizontally and the same as the X2 cube. Here is the X2 cube, capture in output mode 422, and this is the X2 cube in output mode 444. Now if you compare the X2 cube and the Zidoo Pro, they 100% now use the same algorithms for color interpolation. They are now twin brothers in color interpolation. Whereas before the Zidoo and Dune were different from the X2 cube. The new Zidoo is now fully analogic compliant in 444 mode. The only difference is in brightness levels and clipping handling. If Dune Real Vision, Shield TV, Fire TV Cube clipping output correctly, then Zidoo Pro now cannot do it. Gabor, when making the capture, said that he did not find the option to enable the full level of HDMI output. By the way, because of this still spoils the output of gradients, gradations become staggered. One more video. I already told in my video about the difference between 444 and 422, pointed out that the output or capture using downscale using bilinear algorithm leads to image shift. Respectively, now there is an opportunity to confirm the information. Because if before I didn't have media players that were 100% identical in terms of interpolation algorithms, they all differed in some way. Now we can do it. See, this is how the Dune outputs. They have a white balance shift towards the green channel. For the X2 cube the white balance shifts towards the red and crimson, and for the Dune Real Vision and Shield TV there is a shift towards the green channel. We now have the opportunity to compare the X2 cube when outputting in 444 10-bit and the Zidoo Z9x PRO when outputting the same 444 10-bit. You can see that the Zidoo Pro now has no shift to green, it outputs the shift as the X2 cube. My theory is that there are no specific settings for different media chips, the differences in color tones on different media players depend only on the interpolation algorithm and output settings, 422 or 444. This is now fully confirmed. And another defect on the new Zidoo Pro due to the use of limited range HDMI. You see strange bars on the graph, that is, gradients are not output smoothly. The same defect was in the old Realtek chip. That is, for Zidoo Pro you need to look for a setting to output in the full range of HDMI, otherwise there are small distortions of the gradient. In general, there is still a lot of work for the developers of Zidoo and Realtek. One more thing I found out. Those who watched the previous videos know that Realtek on Dune and Zidoo incorrectly detect PQ and HDR characteristics in movies encoded with a Team Titan library. This manifested itself, for example, instead of PQ for example 4000, it defined the movie with PQ equal to 0 and all characteristics corresponded to 0, for example MDL was equal to 0. Although in the original it is all spelled out. In the new Zidoo Pro this problem is solved, they were able to make the correct definition of HDR parameters. Now movies encoded by a Team Titan are defined correctly. It is interesting that Fire TV Cube also incorrectly defines PQ and MDL in such videos, but instead of 0 it puts incomprehensible numbers. For example, here it defines instead of max MDL 4000 as MDL 1000 nits. Accordingly, if the TV uses MDL in the calculations, you will have a different brightness output. Also, Zidoo Pro has a problem with the display of RIPs. When the resolution is not full, then the fields above and below will be gray, not black, and the defect is both on HDR and DV and seemingly even on SDR content. That's probably all. Thanks for watching.